Welcome to Journey Now, a podcast about following Jesus that takes on serious issues without ever taking itself too seriously. Each week, the pastors, staff, and friends of Journey Church in Brentwood, Tennessee, gather to catch up, share life together, and laugh a little. Okay, a lot. Maybe too much. But along the way, they also explore what it really means to bring heaven to earth, share Jesus' hospitality, and live cross-shaped lives. Part babble, part Bible, and occasionally even thoughtful and entertaining, this is Journey Now.
This feels weird.
I know. That's what
We're all
saying.
alone. See, now we can do whatever we want.
I think we're alone.
I was going to start singing it. That's why we're doing 80s prom. All right, punch it, Kev. Oof. Punch it.
Hey, welcome to another Journey Now podcast. We are down a soul.
Couple
Yes.
souls.
Oh, yeah, two.
That is two souls.
Edwin has abandoned us.
Yes, so we are literally in an empty room, no Edwin.
Yes, empty room, just the three
And
of
the
us.
promise is they will release this as is.
Yes,
So there will be no editing whatsoever.
right, because
Really?
they can't.
No, that is
Right.
not the promise.
Okay.
But
Tim
I was
Tim's.
going to try to extract that.
Tim Tim's is in Canada.
I think he's home today, right?
Well, he's coming home today, but
Coming
you
home
never
today.
know. I'm sure he's probably still there going, what am I doing in Canada?
Yeah, that's what a lot of Canadians do. But, ladies and gentlemen,
51st
before we
state.
dive into any substance,
Any substance.
and that's iffy.
Iffy.
We had Sunday night.
I have a new
little
chair
something
today, too, and it's weird.
Yeah, it's creaking.
Yeah.
We had a little something called the Big Table. And in my father's house, there are many rooms.
Yes.
And many tables. This table, however, is one specifically for Journey Church.
Got a big house.
And exactly right.
Yeah.
And so we had the big table, and this is a substitute for those of you that don't come to our community and still listen. I don't know what to tell you. But this is our excuse for a business meeting. And so what happens is
It is.
it is.
I
It
don't know
absolutely
what else
is.
you calling it.
We're going to call it the big table. And so what happens, or what was supposed to happen, is that we have some of the best food in the world
Yes.
with our friend
That
Kenji.
did happen.
Yes, it's coming from Soy Bistro.
I
which
do
is
believe
Spanish
Kenji
for
is one of our
bistro.
dear listeners.
Kenji,
Thank you.
You are amazing.
Amazing.
And so thank you for all of this.
Your
this was
hospitality
incredible.
shines.
Incredible.
Yeah.
But we had a snafu on the salad dressing.
Yes.
And
Snafu.
and so what we had some trivia that was designed to.
Well, it was beef and salad dressing.
Oh.
We were down beef too.
Yes,
Oh, I
because-
didn't realize.
Because
Oh,
Sweet Jordan, was finishing
love.
up the
Who
beef,
we love.
and she was coming with the
okay.
beef and the salad dressing and the serving utensils.
Oh.
And
So it was like a barbarian
she-
horde out there.
Well,
No
she
serving
hit-
utensils.
She hit traffic, and we scrounged around and found some serving utensils.
Ah.
Okay, but what this did, so we have a finely crafted agenda down to the second.
Finally.
And so what we were going to do is we're going to do about 20 minutes of trivia.
Yep.
Where the winners of each question would then be released to go out and
Yeah. That table would be able to go get in line.
because of the snafu, however, we were backed up.
Yep.
And so there was just a big traffic jam in the back. And so we had to kill half an hour. Unplanned.
Oh, and we killed.
Yeah.
We killed it.
'Cause
We
I
killed
don't think
it.
people needed us to do that.
And then
They
we
were fun.
resurrected it.
They were talking.
And then
and
we
we
killed,
killed
it
it again.
Yes.
We
yes.
just kept killing that
A lot of
sucker.
death.
So, well, all right, then maybe Kevin and I decided
Yes.
that we weren't going to sit there quietly for
No.
the next half
Because
an
how
hour.
could you?
And so we decided we were going to start doing karaoke. And our church, there were a few horrified faces.
Oh, yes.
particularly
One
when
of
I
them-
was singing.
One of them was sitting with you.
Well, but the highlight. So when you ask, if you were to ask, hey, what's the spiritual highlight of the big table? It was Kevin Dixon singing on a microphone his favorite line from his favorite Justin Bieber song, which is.
My mama don't like you, and she likes everybody.
So Edwin queued up the song, had that sucker ready to go, and Kevin Dixon, for the first and only time probably in his
yes.
life,
Yes.
sang a little bit of Justin Bieber in front of everybody.
Yes.
That was amazing.
In the name of JC, you
Yes.
sang some JB.
Yeah. Huh.
And so it was marvelous.
Also, Edwin is like amazingly fast at picking
Finding
up.
music.
DJ.
Yeah.
DJ
Yeah.
extraordinaire.
Like-
Yeah.
That's right. That's
Yep.
right.
Yep.
We did Africa.
Shout out, Edwin.
We did, what was the Wicked song? I didn't know what it was.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
But that was
Finding Gravity.
I don't know.
Okay. We had a
Oh, my.
table of younger
yes.
folks
Yes.
who wanted to do something from Wicked.
Yes.
Which, by the way,
Wow.
we cannot in good conscience recommend any movie with that title. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't even know what it's about. It's about Wicked Witch, right?
Yeah, it's the story of the Wicked Witch.
And Glenda.
Yeah,
I don't
and
even know
Glenda.
that I've seen Wizard of Oz.
It's actually really. I saw the play a long time ago when it.
It's a musical.
But yeah, I saw it.
I
live.
saw it at TPAC. It was excellent, by the way.
But the movie
What's
is
TPAC?
supposedly really, really great. Tennessee Performing Arts Center.
Of course. Is that like TAC?
No.
Sorry, that was an insider to
No, it's
Suzie
different.
mispronouncing
Different.
something. Okay.
It's different. Anyway.
Okay, so it's a musical.
Yeah.
And was it written by whoever wrote Wizard of Oz?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
It's the backstory.
Does Wizard of Oz leave you, the movie, wanting the backstory?
No.
No.
Okay.
But it's a prequel because you got to
Oh.
make a prequel for everything now.
Yeah.
That's true. That's
And
true.
it explains some things
Okay.
about Wizard of Oz.
Which I've always been dying to know.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so anyway, somebody got up. What was her name again?
Taylor.
Taylor. And crushed it.
And she's going to be singing this Sunday.
I mean, I'm just
And we're
saying,
not ready.
after that audition.
We're not ready.
Yeah, we're actually going to do the soundtrack from Wicked for worship this week. It's going to be really good.
It'll be wicked.
exactly.
wicked.
Wow.
So it was. And then we had a church meeting.
No, that's
where
from The Incredibles.
Nobody.
No one paid attention.
Nobody paid
as soon
attention.
As they started talking about the money, nobody cared.
So we made the mistake of leading with Kevin talking about money.
Oh.
And
Hey,
well,
Edwin's
hello,
back.
Edwin.
Hey.
Hi, Edwin. Hey.
We already did it.
Okay.
We did a,
Wow.
we did a
Oh,
shout
nice.
out. Yep.
All right, we're gonna keep this.
I was aware of the fact that it was recording.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're good.
Yeah, we shouted you out, DJ. Anyway, it was amazing. And then no one wanted to stop. So we got into like the church meeting stuff and
no
nobody.
one.
Which in my experience in churches is that's like a very like intense,
Solemn.
solemn, sometimes
No,
contentious
argument.
time.
It's usually a good argument.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, we should spend more money on.
I used to.
Yeah.
Sat my first church business meeting. I was a youth pastor,
Oof.
little church, and they were arguing about how much copy paper we used. And I was like,
Oh.
somebody can shoot me now. This is awful.
Yeah.
So I love how we do it. And anyway, so we had a church meeting, but the karaoke was really the story, and not just the karaoke. Kevin's part of the karaoke was really the story.
Bless
Suzie,
Excuse
I
me.
was a little chagrined
Chagrin.
that you did not participate willingly. I assume you have a great voice. You're good at everything. So I assume
Wow.
you don't have a great voice?
I have a good choir voice.
That's a great way to say that.
I don't.
I have a good shower voice.
I have a good. I have a good Alone in the Woods.
Yes.
Voice.
Perfect. Perfect. And I know I've asked before, but I'm asking again because it fits right now. What song would we? Is there a song we could have played that would have got you up there?
No.
Okay, what if we
That's
held your
honest.
children hostage and you had to sing one?
I mean,
Not even then.
No.
What about Steve? Definitely not.
Steve has a song,
Steve has a song?
Yeah.
Oh, what's Steve's song?
Dancing with Myself.
Because I'm a dancing with myself. Little Billy Idol. Brad? Brad, you know this one.
I
Okay.
don't know that one.
Yeah, it's 80s, bro.
You were raising your
You were
kids.
raising children.
Yep.
You were hunting and gathering.
Yeah.
You know,
No, actually,
whatever.
raising my kids in the 90s, but I'll take that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to shout out Seth Erre.
Seth Erre was awesome.
Yes.
Seth Erre really thought he could sing every song, but we did.
Yeah.
Dog Days Are Over.
Yeah.
Florence and the Machine, and then he accompanied me on Africa.
He really wanted YMCA.
He really
kept saying
He
that.
did, and it was like, you know,
I think we
don't-
could have
I
got-
know that song's become a bit divisive.
Yeah, that
Do you-
song has.
but do you
kind
think
of
we
lost
could have got
its
the
luster.
room to do it?
No.
I think we could have got the room.
Well,
to do it.
maybe you could have.
I think we
I
could
was
Would
have.
it
like-
be really funny if everybody stood up and
All right,
dance, like,
Just did that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
that.
I think we could have done it.
Yeah.
Now, ladies and gentlemen,
There would have been some protesting, but I think we could have done it.
there have been lots of emails flooding, really, the Journey email inbox out of concern for Kevin Dixon.
Oh.
And just his mental health during this time of year. Grant entitled the last episode, Let Kevin and Earth Sing, which I thought was, they're
Nature.
always great.
Nature. Kevin and nature.
Oh, Kevin and Nature sing. That's
Yes.
true. That's true. Which, you know, so when Kevin did sing, I mean, we all took note.
Yes.
But we did, in spite of Kevin's Grinch-sized heart, we pressed on.
Yes, we
into
did.
Advent this
We
week.
did.
Advent week number 2. We showed off the lectionary. No, I really thought there'd be more
You
people
literally
impressed.
showed off the lectionary.
It is a
You
big book.
which I tried to forewarn everyone that the only people who care about stuff like that are people like you and I.
Yeah,
Like,
I know. We're
super dorks.
dorks.
I had to explain the lectionary in my class on Sunday.
See,
Thank you.
you're welcome. This is good for you.
Yeah.
Did you roll your eyes as you were explaining it?
Yes.
No, Kevin got up and said, "Hey, that's a great intro into week 2 of Advent," just like he did with his dead eyes on week 1.
Right.
And but Suzie and I, nevertheless, we persisted.
Yeah.
Right?
Can't bring down our holiday cheer.
That's
no,
right.
no. You
But
guys
the
are
text,
loyal.
The text can bring down the holiday cheer because they're awful. And so,
And you could beat somebody to death with
oh
that
my,
book.
yes, and with the lectionary, that could be a deadly weapon. So, we were talking about John the Baptist.
Yep.
And
The baptizer.
the messenger, that was coming ahead to prepare the way. And in fulfillment of Isaiah 40. And then we have a Philippians text talking about the day of Christ and the whole idea. And I was really just expanding on what Suzie had introduced, is that Advent is 4 weeks that reminds us of the space we live in the whole year, the in-between space, the now and not yet space, the waiting and sorrow space, and then the bearing witness and hope space, that both are true, which is new for me because I always thought Advent was preparation for Christmas and Christmas, whatever.
Yeah.
But this is like, the more I've looked at it and the more, Suzie, you've kind of introduced resources into this, it's like, oh my goodness, this is actually lament. Advent is a season of lament,
Yeah.
the darkness of the world, and the recognition that the only hope has to come from outside the human community. And I was,
For sure.
yeah, but I just had never, I
Yeah.
guess, I come from a tradition where everything's a pretty red bow, and
Well, you've mentioned before that you've done in
Only on
previous
Alexis.
communities. You've done a Blue Christmas service,
yes,
and I actually have a friend who was looking for one around here. And I didn't really understand that it was an actual thing.
we did a
And
lament.
yeah, there are several churches in the area that have held or are holding Blue Christmas
Totally.
services of lament for like.
That's
and
an Elvis
my
song,
friend
right?
that was
It
yeah,
is.
Okay.
but and that's what I kind of, when he brought it up originally, I thought about the Elvis song, but like my friend lost her son almost 2 years ago now, or a year and a half ago, and she was looking for a service like that because she's just having a really hard time, and there were all these people that were commenting about when she put it out there that she was looking for it, that there are several in the area and that they're really beautiful.
Yeah. That's my
Yeah.
favorite Christmas service ever.
Yeah, we should do that next year.
I was introduced to it when I was young.
Oh, nice.
We went to a friend's house for Christmas, and their house was all blue.
Oh.
Okay, so if people have like
Were they
blue
Jewish?
Christmas lights, that's what I thought. Like, because there's a
Yeah, I always
house,
thought-
there's
I
a
was-
house
No.
on Concord that has beautiful, like all blue Christmas
Their
lights.
tree was blue.
Okay, so they're
So
celebrating Christmas.
is that like a statement of mourning, or
I
is
asked.
it? I thought it was Hanukkah.
I was like,
Well, what is it?
because our trees
Don't-
were not that way.
Don't tease us.
Don't tease us. It was they were lamenting
Wow.
and they used the word lament, and I was
Wow.
like probably 12
Wow.
or somewhere in that, and I was like, okay, Christmas is not
Yeah,
like
what? Come on,
sad
guys.
times. And
Goodness
thanks,
for you.
well, that's different.
Yeah.
But-
his is more of a like rage red Christmas,
That's different,
you know,
right?
a burnt
But
orange.
it was a solemn affair for this family.
Wow.
And they described that,
Yeah.
and they had there's a sadness to this family because of 3 lost children.
Oh boy.
So it was
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
totally makes sense.
so Christmas was not happy.
Right.
It was blue.
Yeah.
But that is so, I mean, it's just so interesting when you think about what Advent is and how that's so appropriate if you are in that
Oh my
state
goodness.
of being where
Yes.
you
Yeah.
just can't come to a place of celebration, but
Right.
you really are living in a place of longing,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So, and I think it's so interesting because lament is just not something we were discipled to do. It's so
Never.
much more than just being sad. In fact, it's
Totally.
not even just being sad.
No.
No.
It's naming, it's crying out, it's
Mhm.
sitting in the God-given emotions that you have and your experience of the world, and it is meant to lead you to an understanding, a felt acknowledgement of the longing we have for Christ to come and make things new again.
Yeah.
And you know, it leads to worship, like the way that we're told to lament in Scripture through the Psalms and everything. Like it leads to worship, and not the kind of worship that like puts a positive spin on things or wraps it up in a pretty bow, but actually brings comfort to you. And
that's good.
Helps you experience the presence of God when he feels so absent, you know?
That yes.
And we don't know how to do that.
No. That's why Advent for me has been a revelation, like a gift, because, and I don't know that we have to do a Blue Christmas service because of the way we're approaching Advent.
Right.
Right? I mean, we are like for 2 weeks, we're talking about loss and suffering and sorrow. And for those of you that you know, don't understand quite the theological point that we're trying to make is that the way that Israel longed for the Messiah before the first coming of Christ is similar to the posture of the church now, awaiting the second coming of Christ. So the longing and the vocabulary and the lament and the holding on to prophetic promises, even in the midst of seeming silence.
Yeah.
That's the flavor.
Yeah.
And so it's much more than a looking back at the first coming of Jesus. It's much more a forward orientation in anticipating the second coming of Christ. So this week, it's all about judgment, which I don't know how I'm going to figure this out, but it's going to be glorious.
Perfect.
Yeah, but see, that's a whole other thing. Like judgment, we've been taught to or experienced as like harsh and scary, whereas in some cultures, judgment is deliverance. It's freedom. It's justice.
For sure.
It's, you know, so depending on your social location, judgment could be actually really something that you've long awaited.
You know, Suzie, that's one of the points I was going to make.
Oh,
so
sorry.
Long
thank
awaited.
you for that. But yeah, I mean, if you're in a majority, go ahead.
But you've made a great point, and it was prior even to Advent of living in the then and now, the not yet, but yet to come. And Advent kind of points the way to the crashing of that, or the start of that, but also the divine crashing into the human.
Yes.
Which
that'll preach.
Yeah. Well, but we often just view it as a light, but it's multifaceted light.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Fleming Rutledge is somebody Suzie and I are.
That's
reading.
a great handle
we
right
are
there.
Big fans.
She
She has a
is-
fantastic name.
What's the first name?
Fleming.
Fleming.
1 M.
Yep, she's amazing. She is amazing in her writing.
Good save on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
But
So would she be called Flem for short?
You know what?
No, you can't disrespect that. You cannot.
there's some
disrespect like
gravitas
that.
to this
Yeah,
woman.
yeah. Like
Okay.
she is. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Man, that'd be rough growing up
Yeah,
with
She's a
that
church
name.
mother.
She is. She's Episcopalian, but not.
But not.
But I mean, she just like she speaks way like across all sorts of denominations. But she has this great line: "Advent begins in the dark." And so, to your point about light, that's the issue. Is the light is dawned, but it wasn't how we expected, when we expected, where we expected, and so as we prepare, so many of the Advent readings are about staying awake and being sober minded, and you know what I mean. And so it's an interesting thing. We were never discipled into this. This was all.
There's a C.S. Lewis book. Where everything's in the twilight. Like is
that a space trilogy?
I don't remember which book it is, but that's terrible. But it's a town that I want to say it's the Great Divorce, and I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I think it is the Great Divorce.
Yeah.
But you can't see, but you can see. It's kind of like everything is kind of just. It's a dim light. It's a dawn of light, but not a real light or a full light is a better word. It's real light, but it's a full light. But everything's kind of in this. That's the then. But not yet fully. And he describes it so well. It's called The Great Divorce.
Yeah. There we go.
Anyway.
Yeah, which ties into the movie clip, bro.
The movie clip.
I need to just say,
and I
did because the feedback was overwhelming, and it wasn't because the clip was great. It was because of the joke that came after. That was the
And we
reason
did
the movie
get
clip.
text line questions. What happens next?
Yes. And then I had to
From
break it
people
to
who
him.
clearly did not grow up in the 90s.
Yeah, seriously. So we showed. So I hate
to
people
tell
that
you,
do
but
movie
Trinity
clips.
dies
So
right after
funny.
that.
And so I hated. I was cringing so
Yes,
much.
I loved it.
And it was like, but it felt right to my little heart.
What'd you
to
call
show
it? A
movie
throwback to Church at the Movies, or
Oh, what was
Summer
it?
at the movies.
Summer at the movies
Yeah,
that
summer at the
churches
mo-
would do.
Yes.
Oh, just so dumb, so dumb. And if you do it,
But that's a
you're
great
dumb.
church growth.
It's just dumb.
That's
Did
a
you
good.
do it?
Never.
That's a good church growth.
But
pick, though.
churches I
That's the
did.
idea.
Yeah,
Churches I was a part of would do it, but I just could never.
there are
I
still
could
churches
get up.
doing it.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, of course. Yeah. So all that is to say, there was a movie clip, and
Jesus, I am your Father.
Yes.
Oh wait, no, that's
I mean, we could now we have chosen clips we can show. Guys, here's our Bible reading.
yes.
Here's
oh my
the chosen.
gosh. Have you watched it?
Uh-uh.
It's actually really good.
Is it really?
Yes.
Yeah,
What?
It is.
actually, it is.
It's really
I've never
good.
seen it. No, I've seen episodes.
It's really good. I
Okay.
haven't watched the whole thing. I've
you
just watched a few episodes.
Explain really good though.
It is.
So is
It's
Jesus
how I imagine what Jesus would be like.
okay? So is Jesus
A
is
good-looking
not white, I'm
German.
assuming.
No, it's
So
that.
he's Mediterranean.
Yeah.
And it's authentic as much as it can
All
be.
of the cast members are of. They seem like they're all from like Middle Eastern descent.
Do you feel like you could have auditioned?
Totally.
Nice. What would be the role?
I
for
don't
you?
know.
Let's think about that for a second. What role would Suzie play in The Chosen?
Anyway, it's good. I wouldn't knock it till you try it.
I'm not. Was I knocking it?
I mean,
Maybe.
no.
Maybe I was. I don't know. But I was just saying. Yeah, that's so interesting to me because my theological mind doesn't want to paint
A
those
picture.
scenes
Yep.
concretely.
Right. But it's what's cool about it. The episodes that I've seen,
Yeah.
they actually paint the abstract. They paint the parts that you like don't think about. Like one of my favorite
Yeah.
scenes that
Yeah.
I've watched so far, and this is early, like one of the first few episodes,
Dave Meacham, this is for you.
when they like Peter
Is
and
Dave involved with
Pete. Is he?
He works with that crew. Yeah.
Well, so
Oh, wow.
Peter, those guys, they're fishing.
Yeah.
And they haul in like the
Oh, yeah.
amazing amount of fish
Yeah.
that and like they're all stressed about how they're going to pay their taxes and all that stuff. And they're on the beach and they go out fishing and the nets are like unbelievably full. And Jesus is walking with Peter and he just starts laughing like, isn't that so great? And Peter's like, well, what do you want to do with the fish? And Jesus says to him, oh, don't worry about it. You just gather them and I'll sort them out later.
No.
Yeah. And
That's
it was
funny.
like, oh my gosh, you know?
Yeah.
So there's like little things like that.
That's
they
kind of how it
show.
works. Yeah.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah,
gather them all,
but
sort
that's
them out
not,
later.
I mean, I've never seen anybody do it that way.
Yeah.
Like, you
Yeah.
know,
That's awesome.
artistically, you know?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's just like a lot of like really interesting little things
Okay.
that they show. And
Nice.
yeah, I don't know. It's worth it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
How did
No,
we get on this?
I have no idea.
Summer at
Movie
the
clips.
movies?
Summer at the movies.
Yes.
Summer with The Chosen.
Chosen. Yes. And
Hey, I say we just show episodes.
and the clip
Which
where you
that is what some churches are doing now, actually. I'm not saying we should do that, but that is the thing.
I'll take those Sundays off. That's great.
Ah.
Hey guys, here's the
Yeah.
woman at the well. Boom.
well,
For me though, if I were gonna do something, I'd do Bible Project.
Oh, for
I'd show
sure.
those videos. I'd show
yeah.
their
Yeah, those are
8
fun.
minutes. Because it's
I
like
have, and when I've taught.
I remember.
Yeah.
yeah,
And it was great.
they have a lectionary project too.
Evil. Just you hear
Like,
that.
I was for a second. I was like, they
no,
do.
No. There was a glint. There was a glint in the eye of that gentleman over there that was.
Gosh, I think we should ask Tim Mackey to do a lectionary version.
Oh, well, did you see the Lectio Bible they just published? Have you seen this?
No.
Okay, John Mark Comer. I
Oh,
figured you had already
yeah.
bought it and had him sign it. But okay, and we're off. So
Is it gold plated like the?
probably
Okay.
So we had some phenomenal questions in the room. Did we get anything on text line
Yes.
that you? Okay, so
We
we'll
have some
start
good
there.
ones in the room too.
We did.
Did you have more in the 11 than you did at 9? Because the 9 were just a couple,
Just a couple that,
but they were good.
they were really good.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we put the 9 up. The 11.
Oh, you did.
We did.
Did they? when they put the 9 o'clock up, did they keep the movie clip in or did they take it out?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
See, there's so much you can do with the Matrix, though. I mean,
Bro,
it's a theological
They did it. I mean,
masterpiece.
remember, somebody wrote a book called The Gospel of the Matrix.
No way.
Like, dude, if there's cash to be made,
Okay.
totally.
So on the questions,
Yes.
there were a couple that picked up on your line about picking up trash. And it was in the context of you talking about Tikkun Olam.
Yes. Oh, nailed it.
The
Hakuna
repair,
Matata.
the repair of the world. And so, like, one person asked, like, that's a bigger deal than you made it to be.
Well, yeah, that's a whole teaching.
Yeah. And then this person said, you talk about repair of the world, but how do we practice this when our everyday life has really bad implications on the world? I'm reminded of the show The Good Place, where there's a scene of even buying an apple somehow has bad implications. For example, even recycling trash on the world, us traveling via car to pick up the trash does more
carbon
repair
imprint.
than repair.
Yeah. Recycling actually isn't overly helpful.
What?
Because it takes a
what
lot
they
of
told me in
energy
the
to
80s.
recycle.
That's what they told me in the 80s.
Well, no, I still separate it out and recycle
separate
it
it.
because
I do
it
too.
makes me feel better.
You got to keep them
Yeah.
separated. Sorry.
Oh,
Okay, so just talk about the context that you mentioned, Tikkun Olam, and then, like, for the dear listener who didn't get to listen on Sunday,
Totally.
what is Tikkun Olam?
Well,
not
somebody-
to be confused with Hakuna Matata.
Totally. So somebody named Suzie Lind listened to a dry run of this and went, okay, so how do we live into sorrow and hope? So I went into like specific practices that I do. I don't do a lot of the traditional spiritual disciplines, but like lament and trying to be an empathetic eyewitness to people and their pain. Sitting Shiva, although we didn't talk about that.
Is it Shiva or Shiva?
I've heard it both.
Okay.
One's easier to mispronounce. So Shiva's where I go with that. Although Brad will remember I just started saying Shiva, 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 Shiva.
yes, we've had this.
We couldn't cuss, so that was what we were.
Shiva.
Sitting Shiva. So dumb. So under like, how do we bear witness and hope? So much of the imagination of the early church was, believe it or not, was based on good works. And the good works were not salvific, but the good works were demonstrative that you were upside down and part of a community. And they were also done in anticipation of the return of Christ. Yeah. So you're not building the kingdom, but as N.T. Wright says, you're building for it. And so there's this. I heard this phrase, I don't know, 20 years ago, Tikkun Olam, which means the repair of the world. And yes, we are even in our repair, we're still hurting the world. But when I look at Paul,
which is crazy.
Well, that's how sick we are.
I know. Yeah.
That nothing that we use to repair actually is itself escapes corruption, right? If that sentence made sense.
We can't bring salvation to the world, is what you're saying.
Yes, but what we can do, and this is where Paul will, say, hey, you're not saved by works, but you're saved for good works.
That's right.
And those good works, as Peter fleshes them out, are public demonstrations of benefaction, which are like road works that rich people would do, or games, or bread giveaways. But they were public demonstrations of the generosity of Christ to the church that would be then extended to the community. And so the beautiful thing about Tikkun Olam is that it's public and that it's as big or small as you want to make it. Like for those of us that have wider influence, it should be that wide. For those of us that are just walking to pickleball and see trash, it's just picking up trash. But when I look at what Paul did, Paul didn't overturn the world system, but he planted dynamite within it. So you'll see, like in Ephesians, we'll see a household code that speaks to husbands and wives and children and fathers and slaves and masters. But he's dropping dynamite all over the
Yeah.
place. in
Right.
that.
Just so you know that he's speaking metaphorically here.
Yep.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you.
Just to clarify.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that lectionary.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
explosive too.
It is. Yes.
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 But so Paul is practicing. I mean, he didn't take on Rome in a frontal assault.
Right.
But he did it in a much more profound way. He not only told an alternative story that undercut Rome's story about itself, but then he would introduce gospel dynamics into settled Roman systems that eventually led to their overturn.
Right.
So we do that same dance. So yes, we're in a world that exploits labor. We're in a world where I can't, no matter how well sourced my food is, I can't trust that it's actually that well sourced.
Yeah. For sure.
Yep. But
Same with clothes. You
absolutely.
Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Labor is, exploited all over the world.
And my iPhone. I mean, I just have no conception
Right.
of, and yet within that system, I'm still called to practice repair. And yes, there are better ways and more faithful ways to repair than others. No question about it. Not everything Christians say is repair is actually repair.
Right.
But for me, one of the ways to manifest hope in the midst of the now and the not yet is by paying attention. And so it's even, Kev.
Where did the word repair come from in this conversation? That's what I'm curious of.
So, yep.
Because I'm not liking the word.
You don't like the word repair.
I don't, but go ahead and tell me where it comes from.
What's it connotate? Because you repair
What
all
comes up
sorts
in
of
you,
things.
Kevin, when you hear the word repair?
How did repair hurt you, Kevin? Kevin, you repair cars. You repair ceiling fans.
I do.
You repair all sorts of things.
Yes.
What connotations did that word have that you don't like?
Repair implies capacity to fix what's broken in a world that I'm not sure we can shine light, we can work against, we can do a lot of things. Repair probably isn't, I think, the best word for it.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, if repair means
Fix to new.
I can fix the root.
To me, it does. It's the idea that I can restore back to its original purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think of it that way.
I think of it more as so Jesus Jesus practiced repair in his, like when he raised Lazarus from the dead.
Sure. Yep.
But Lazarus died.
But he still died.
Yeah. Right.
So it wasn't final repair.
Right.
It was momentary.
Which
Right.
don't you think that would be justice then? Like ultimate justice?
That's how I see repair.
Yeah.
Okay.
I see repair as an aspect of justice.
Okay. Good.
So or the
but-
restoration of shalom in whatever small way.
In a small way.
Yes.
Glimmers.
But there's only degrees of justice that we can
Approximate.
like yeah,
Yep.
I mean
You bet.
ultimately
To
that's
Kevin's
what we're
point,
waiting
yes.
for is
Yes.
justice.
But
Yes.
somebody is lonely.
Yeah.
And repair doesn't look like fixing them, but it looks like joining them in a situation.
Yeah.
That's an aspect of repair that
Yeah.
that's what I think of.
Yeah.
Great.
Restoration, renewal, those would be other words I'd be comfortable with. But again, not in any final sense.
Right.
But because we're still image bearers, we still have agency in the world.
Yep.
And so often Jesus is particularly, I see it like in his relationship with the early church, he wouldn't work apart from them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He steps with them. He doesn't step ahead of them.
So we're dealing more with duct tape here than we are with solutions, like final solutions.
In a final sense, yes.
Yes.
But on the other hand, if the church is really going to be the church, it can do some things that alleviate roots. So if one of the roots is loneliness,
Yeah.
A healthy church should help.
With that.
Yeah. We can't solve it
No.
because we're all alienated. We're all in exile.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yep.
But we can practice repair.
That's good. Okay.
So no, I love that, Kev. And you have a consistent skepticism towards the idea, because there is a social justice gospel that is very utopian in nature.
Yes.
That says, hey, our job is to fix the world.
Yes.
Be the answer to your prayers.
Right. And they would be post-millennialists. And a lot of this has to do with that.
Yes,
that
theologically, not millennial degeneration.
And they would say you can usher in the second coming of Christ. Because if we could just get this right.
Which that's nowhere in the New Testament. Do they
Well,
think that, right?
Well, no.
It is.
I mean,
We're discussing
Pharisees,
it.
The Pharisees, yeah, but the disciples did not
There's a passage
present that there would be a utopian scenario.
No. But there's a passage in 1st or 2nd Peter right at the very end that talks about hastening its coming.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's where
They latch onto that.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
No. But so you've got two gospels that are false, that floating around in evangelicalism. One is the utopian idea.
Yep.
The other is the escape idea. This is all sinking.
Yeah.
This is a sinking ship. So why? Just save souls.
Right.
And Jesus obviously contradicts both.
I grew up in the just save souls environment.
Me too.
With some of the post-millennialists circling around the outskirts of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've seen, so I was part of the emerging church sort of conversation that was all about moving away from the saving souls into, hey, this is about justice. You know what I mean? And not surprising, we overswing. And so with all the good intentions, right? We are.
Oh, I know.
I mean, it's just, and so none of it, as far as I know, these extremes aren't malicious in nature. They're just overcorrective.
Yeah.
And the hardest thing for me, I don't know about you guys, is to sit in the tension of it all, which is what Advent, full circle,
correct,
kind of forces in upon us.
Yeah. The in-between time.
Exactly. So there is work to do. I have agency in the world, but I'm building for it. No, I'm not building it. I lament because the world sucks and life is hard, and I celebrate because Jesus has come and is coming. It's just this weird, you live in this absolute paradox.
I loved what you said about hope being optimism with a broken heart.
That's Nick Cave.
Okay.
Said that. I quote
Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, Nick Cave.
Yeah.
Is that Nick Cave?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
He's written some stuff on faith that is unbelievable.
Didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
That's good to know.
So hope is optimism with a broken heart is his line.
Yeah, it's great.
And I also really loved when you said that the church's role is to metaphorically be like John the Baptist.
Ooh.
Isn't that what you said? Something like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's a Fleming point.
Yeah.
Is that the role of John was single-minded in that he called God's people to repentance.
Yeah.
And so I kind of see like the role of the church is kind of that too, calling God's people to repentance. Because at least for me, I fall prey into the idolatrous notion that I can assume how and when Jesus is going to return.
Yeah.
Right.
And so, we just, and then if I know how he's coming back and I knew how he came the first time, then I can feel safe in determining how he comes now.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's where we are just so off.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, that's why to me, like this whole circle is really important. The circle of Advent, the idea that it's now and not yet, and the in-between times. Anyway.
So next week is week 3.
Next week is week 3, ladies and gentlemen, and it's judgment. It's going to be great. The root, the axe is at the root of the tree. All the fruit that doesn't bear fruit is going to be burned up.
Wow.
We're like, yes.
I'm loving this.
Yes, joy of the world.
Lectionary.
I know.
Yes.
Yeah, Kevin.
Yes.
Here's what Kevin says. Just we'll end with this. And again, we covet your prayers.
Please, because this guy leads this place.
You will not tell me what Bible passages to use. That was like spoken like a true evangelical.
Yes. Now you're just cussing at me.
Yes. So friends, in sorrow and in hope, we bid you
Fare thee well.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Journey Now. If for some bizarre reason you liked it, help us spread the word by leaving a review and sharing it on your socials. Journey Now is a production of Journey Church in Brentwood, Tennessee. Edwin Rivera III produces the show and fixes all the guest slurping, gum chewing, coughing, and other annoying sounds. Randy Hansen provides technical assistance even though he denies it. Grant Opperman edits Journey Now and intervenes when necessary to tell the crew that you can't say that. Special shout out to dear listener Brad Erie and dear YouTube watcher Seth Erie. If there's anyone else who makes it through each week, we're so sorry, and thanks to you too.
Vikings.
Yeah, what's their record?
11-2.
Dude. I mean, it's like Pittsburgh.
No one.
No,
They were
Nope.
6 wins.
Nope.
At the beginning of the year.
Nope. Sam Darnold. You lose your high-priced rookie and you get Darnold, and he's like playing out of his mind.
He had the game of a lifetime.
Oh,
5 touchdowns.
I mean, good
50 yards.
I know. How fun though.
Throwing dimes.
Yep. It'll be interesting once the playoffs happen.
Oh yeah. Oh, for sure. I don't think our defense is gonna hold up.
Well, that's the question.
Too old. Bunch of old guys.
Well, you know what?
They're savvy.
I can relate to that.
Yeah.
You can.
Oh,
Hey!
you're talking about old guys, and I'm like, yep.